Hey guys, Trump has made a bold stunt and now it's paid off, guys. There are so much things that have broken news this morning on what's going on with Trump and his agenda. We literally have breaking news that the Prime Minister has officially come out and said that he is ready to negotiate with Trump about the future of Greenland. Yes, Trump says it's absolutely done. Greenland will become part of the United States in some form or fashion as either a state or a territory. Remember, there's only 56,000 people there, but it's a huge piece of land, very strategic when it comes to protection of the United States. What a big play. We also have it where the other big play, the Doge team. Elon Musk and the Doge team are setting up camp in Washington, D.C., to be close to the lawmakers, to meet with them regularly, to move the ball forward and make sure that tax cuts are being implemented, government waste is being reduced, and a big one is they say they're going to be targeting the IRS big time. We also have it where the Trump border czar, Tom Homan, has said that the administration will be setting up a hotline to allow Americans to report illegal migrants suspected of committing crimes so that they can be deported as quickly as possible. We also have Trump is discussing plans with Russia and Putin on new security agreements with the U.S. and with NATO to make sure that Ukraine doesn't become a part of NATO. But this is putting us one step closer to getting this war done with between Russia and Ukraine. And Biden this morning has announced another 1 million migrants from the Sudan, Ukraine, El Salvador, and Venezuela will be allowed to stay in the United States with special visa protection status from the Biden administration for the next 18 months. But we got a ton of breaking news to go over this morning, guys. Huge. I want to say thank you to everybody that is watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you with the top news. And thank you so much to everyone who supports the channel by being a member. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. And thank you so much to everybody that gives super chat donations to our channel. In a little over a week, we're going to be doing a big donation to a charity live. I love it, guys. We are growing the United States. Trump is making these big, bold plays. And he said he'd do it, and now he's doing it. But I love what you're about to see next, guys. This is huge. Check this out.
Less than 2 weeks to the return of Donald Trump, where the media will have to deal with a non-compliant president that doesn't go along with their gaslighting anymore. This is going to be glorious. I saw this on Defiant L's, another great X account. This video is fantastic. Check this out. This is about a little over a minute of Donald Trump and the media in the last term. I can't wait to have this back. It'll put a smile on your face on a Thursday. Check this out.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus?
Because it comes from China.
Racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China.
Mr. President, can you just respond to Kamala Harris's campaign attacking you for being in this town because they say there were white supremacists?
Who was here in 2021? Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
We have very low unemployment rate in the U.S. and we have a very high unemployment rate in France. How come? What the recipe for?
Well, maybe we have a better president than you do.
Pew Research says that there are, for immigrants on the whole,
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about. Try getting it out. Go ahead. Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it was just a follow-up of what I just asked you,
Listen,
sir.
you ready? We have the president of Finland. Ask him a question.
I have one for him. I just wanted to follow up on the one that I asked.
Did you hear
what
me?
Did you want?
Did you hear me? Ask him a question.
I will, but
I've given you a long answer. Ask this gentleman a question. Don't be rude. Okay, question? Yeah, go ahead. Sure. She's shocked that I picked her.
No.
Like in a state of shock.
I'm not thinking Mr.
That's
President.
okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
God, dude. I cannot wait for Trump to be back in office. What a freaking G. Not afraid to call these people out. And like you said, what? You can't even you can't even ask a question? I love it.
That video actually doesn't end there. It goes on for about another 20 seconds. I would have played it, but I had to end with that one because that's Trump. That's okay. I wasn't thinking, you never do. We get that? This cannot come soon enough. By the way, an action item for you, because the Trump reformation of the Republican Party has not ended, folks. Our friend Eric Daughtry on X, Eric L. Dog, good account to follow, notes that Nevada is on the verge of flipping red under the latest party registration numbers. Democrats have lost more votes over the last month. Here's the Republican registration advantage. Plus 1,688, Democrats minus 20. The Democrat lead in the state is down to 4,167. A very small number for the GOP to overcome. If it continues, it'll happen soon.
Yes.
Folks, what I'm getting at here is I am an action-oriented guy. I do not get emotional. I'm passionate, not emotional. Believe it or not, those are not the same thing, okay? I am a numbers guy. We have a problem. What's the problem? In states like Nevada and Pennsylvania, we still have a voter registration advantage to overcome where the Democrats are beating us. How do we fix that problem? Very simple. We register more Republicans. What does that mean for you? Action item and request. Dan, the election just ended. We need to take a break. I know you're not saying that, but some people are. No, we don't. There's no break time.
No
I told
break
you take
time,
a
baby.
week, celebrate. That week's over. It's time to get back to work. Thanks to people like Scott Pressler, Sean Parnell, and others out there and activists, we are still out there registering. From now until the midterms, I'm going to institute another 10, 10, and 10 rule. 10 phone calls, 10 emails, 10 social media posts to the voter registration site in your page. Oh, you have 2 years to do it so that everybody understands if they're not registered, where they can go to register. And I'm guessing if you're a listener to my show, the people you're going to send that to are going to be Republicans. You can't tell them how to register, but you can certainly show them how. We can't stop. We're an action-oriented party. Let the Democrats focus on their bumper stickers. Coexistence, tolerance, whatever, bro. You focus on all that bullshit. We'll focus on action items and getting things done. Don't get emotional. We are transactional and we are outcome-oriented, and that's how we're going to fix this place because there's nowhere else to go.
Yes. Butt up.
Folks, we have to save this country from the liberal menace. This Los Angeles fire story is not a local story. Sure it is. It's Los Angeles. It is not a local story. The failures of government to not only not be good, but to stop being demonic are everywhere where government metastasizes, whether under Democrats or Republicans. But the liberal menace is real. This country will collapse under the weight of everything they're prescribing. Confiscatory taxes, open borders, defunding the police. We cannot possibly survive. I know it fits the stereotype. I don't care. I've mentioned it a lot. I've become fascinated with the collapse of the Roman Empire, just like every single TikTok meme out there. And when you watch the collapse of the Roman Empire at the end, Commodus and the end of the Pax Romana at the end, what you'll see is parochial interest took over. Everybody was like, I got mines, man. That was the end. We have a chance to stop that. We don't have to repeat the mistakes of history.
Nope.
And the mistakes of history are being exacerbated by the liberal menace. We can't survive with open borders. It's not possible. Milton Friedman spoke about it from an economic perspective. Forget the national security for a second. You cannot have open borders and a welfare state. You will go mathematically bankrupt.
Yep.
But there's a national security problem that's an obvious one. You let in 12 million people, even if a small chunk are terrorists, that's a whole lot of terrorists. Here's our incoming national security advisor, Congressman Mike Walls, the incoming NSA, talking about some pretty incredible stats about how many people are in this country from suspect places around the world. The numbers aren't small. Check this out.
In Jim Jordan's report, 2,100 Afghans, 33,000 Chinese, 541 Iranians, 520 Syrians, over 3,100 Uzbeks, and we know the ISIS smuggling ring has sent over 400 people in, 8 of whom were rolled up in 3 different cities, plotting and planning an attack on the eve of the Pulse nightclub hit. You're right, we're going to get hit. We're all watching it happen in real time, and the blood is on Biden's hands, is on Harris's hands, and is on Mayorkas's hands.
Please save this country from the liberal menace.
Yes.
It is them and only them. Again, I'm not telling you Republicans are the solution to all your problems. The cause of your problems right now in the public safety space. We have a problem. Forget the emotions. The problem is people who want to kill us, we call terrorists, are in the United States. How did they get here? They didn't fly in. A lot of them flew to other countries and crossed the border illegally. How do we solve that problem? We have to start deporting people, and a lot of them. You're not here legally, you're probably a terrorist. Not every single person who crosses the border is a terrorist. However, terrorists mostly get here by crossing the border.
Guys, let me tell you this. You want to know how serious they are from the leading report, guys? This morning, breaking news, Trump's border czar Tom Homan says the administration is considering setting up a hotline to allow Americans to report illegal migrants suspected of committing crimes. That's how serious they are. Thank you so much, brother. Mr. Norby says, hey, brother Joel, maybe this time around the Democrats just might pull their head out of, we can finally get our country back under control, protecting our people, and have police actually doing what they are paid to do, protect and serve. Let's go, baby. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. Guys, I'm telling you, we have to fight this so hard because look at this. They want to set up a hotline to have people report illegal migrants, but look at what Mr. Biden, President Biden, decided to do again. Yesterday, it was 800,000 migrants that he gave extra amnesty to. Today, a lot of them. Biden admin has announced that nearly 1 million migrants, and I'm sorry, not today, last night, 8:54 p.m., nearly 1 million migrants from the Sudan, Ukraine, El Salvador, Venezuela will be allowed to stay in the U.S. for the next year and a half after extending temporary protective status. It's all by design, guys. They're doing this on purpose. We're now up to 1.8 million people that Biden has given extra special status to stay here in the United States. Even though they're illegal, they should be deported. Listen to this because it's not by coincidence, guys. I got you. Check this out.
Tell me what Biden does, and this is in your grill, and this is why there has to be a upfront, totally transparent, and not some commission or not some set of hearings. I mean a special prosecutor with powers of subpoena power and a grand jury on the invasion of the southern border. Let's leave lawfare here. We got other things we got to do. I'm talking the invasion of this country. Catholic charities, all of them get rolled out. I'm quoting The Guardian. I said, hell with it, dude. Kate, got to be investigated. But Biden specifically, what he did yesterday is an outrage. Walk our folks through how much he's making it so tough for Trump to execute the plan on deportations. Todd Benjamin.
That's right. It's like somebody did not let the dog out of the White House quick enough, and they left piles all over the place for Trump to come in and clean up. The latest pile is that the Biden-Harris administration, Mayorkas, yesterday signed an order extending deportation prevention. It's called temporary protected status.
You see this stuff?
For 1 million people, 600,000 of them being Venezuelans, so that Trump can't deport them readily when they enter office as part of the mass deportation program. Now, what this does is it enables those people who fall under it to reapply for work permits and to stay for another 18 months past when they were already, and it adds 400,000 more Venezuelans than were already on this thing. I just want to point out that having interviewed hundreds and hundreds of Venezuelans and also others that are on this list, that they are not coming from Venezuela.
No.
We don't have to deport them to Venezuela. The vast majority of them are coming from perfectly safe, happy, prosperous countries. They were doing great for years and years. Colombia, Chile, Ecuador, Peru, they did well in all of these places. Argentina, you don't have to deport them to Venezuela, but they're acting as though oh my God, we can't deport them to Venezuela. We can deport them to the places that they came from, where they were prospering for many years. And I just want to point out that those people that fall under this committed fraud, in my opinion, asylum fraud and humanitarian parole fraud, just to get into the country, because they weren't coming from Venezuela. Millions of them are still outside of Venezuela, 7 million plus. They don't need TPS or, deportation prevention at all. This whole thing is smelly, it's got a big stink on it. And I think that it needs to be investigated. But also, the thing that really needs to be investigated is the steering of contracts and grants from the State Department to the United Nations and NGOs that were facilitating the onward movement of those Venezuelans and lots of other nationalities besides. I can't wait till somebody starts sinking their teeth into that one.
Guys, we reported on this channel that there was NGOs, non-government organizations that were literally at the border handing out flyers to people that were incoming, showing them how to register for Social Security, how to get taxpayer benefits, how to get on welfare, where to go to get a free airplane ride. And that's what he's saying. We need to investigate these NGOs that were working on behalf of the Biden administration to get more illegals into the system, living off the taxpayers' dime. And look, like I just showed you, the Biden administration has announced nearly 1 million migrants, not just from Venezuela, but from Sudan, Ukraine, El Salvador. Venezuela, all these get extra protected status. What is Biden doing? A lot of people say the guy's not there. What's new? Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, I'll call the hotline in a minute. If it's justified, get them out. 100%. Y'all show what's new. Some love in the chat. Listen to this, guys, because they're starting to replace people. So the Trump administration is starting to step in, and now the Biden administration is starting to step out. Listen to this, because this is going to be one of our biggest people in there because of our attack, our closeness relationship with Israel and the Middle East. Listen to this.
He embarrasses himself every single day. Look what he said even to the reporter. He uses a level of profanity that, quite frankly, is disgusting for a public person to use in a knowing public place. But it's also embarrassing that he's waiting until the last week of his presidency to suddenly decide that he's going to come up with some foreign policy. I don't care who he knows, how many people. Everybody knows him, and what they know is he's not all there. I just can't imagine what great policy he's going to put on the table. And why would he wait till his last week? He needs to clear the deck, clear the stage, clean out his desk, and make preparation for the next president. That's what a decent person would do, not try to pretend that he's going to govern everything and make problems for Donald Trump right up until the moment that the oath of office is administered.
So, Governor, he is scheduled to give this speech on Monday, which will be exactly 1 week away from him exiting stage left. And maybe this will, I don't know, be a legacy speech on foreign policy to some extent, or some rhapsodizing about what he thinks ought to happen in the future. And with all due respect, it just kind of feels like, given the track record, looking in Eastern Europe, looking in the Middle East, looking at our southern border, when it comes to foreign policy, maybe the best approach is to just sit down and say nothing.
Well, if he's got to say something because he just can't contain himself, he needs to look backwards and tell us what he did for 4 years. That's what most people do when they're leaving office. They recite their accomplishments. He's not going to do that because he doesn't have any to really brag about. Very few people upon leaving office, I don't care what office it is, are trying to look forward and say, here's what I'm going to do in the next 6 days. It's absurd. It's embarrassing, and his staff ought to pull him aside, make sure he doesn't go out and give some speech that will embarrass him even more than he's been embarrassed, and somehow say, Mr. President, go out with a little dignity, go out with a little self-respect.
Dude, just
Don't go out
man.
and humiliate yourself by pretending that you're going to shape foreign policy in your last 6 days after having done little of it in your first 4 years.
But and you're a minister, and I will try to keep it Christian and fall back on listen to my mother from on high and fall back on my Baptist roots. But Governor, Joe Biden is a cocktail of arrogance and incompetence. And at the end of it, as he exits stage far left, the arrogance overtakes him. And he somehow believes in his addled brain that he can reshape the perception of his disastrous 4 years in office with a few muddled words.
Well, he can't, and that's the sad part. It's a genuine tragedy that he thinks that he can rehabilitate 4 years of failed leadership in his final 6 days in office. That's why I say what he needs to do is to be gracious, be kind, be generous in his praise for the hope that he has for a new administration, even if he doesn't have it. That's just what you do. You hand the baton off. You don't try to hang on to it and say, by the way, I'm going to wave it around one more time before you take the oath. And I just can't imagine who around him thinks that this is a good idea and that they're not able to talk him out of it, because it really is a way to humiliate himself in his last days. And this is a president who doesn't need it. And quite frankly, look, I don't care for Joe Biden. I certainly don't like his policies, but I don't wish him harm. I don't wish him disaster. I just want him to go away.
Yep.
It's just that simple.
He could stand up there and say the names of the 13 service members who died on his watch during his disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. Say them out loud in front of the American people, because he's never done that. Governor Mike Huckabee and Ambassador Mike Huckabee.
Yes, Ambassador to Israel. Guys, this is one of the biggest breaking news ever. Everybody was freaking out over, what does he mean? Greenland, we can't do that. No, this is modern times. We don't live in, look, Greenland's Prime Minister, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Let me try this. Myote Egede says he's ready to negotiate with U.S. President-elect Trump about the future of the Arctic territory. Not only them, check this out. Leading report says Greenland's leader, Myote Egede, said he is prepared to negotiate with Trump about the future of the Arctic territory. Guys, it's getting real. I'm going to show you there was a reason that Trump sent his son, Charlie Kirk, and others to go and speak with the people of Greenland. It's not by chance, guys. Whenever you look at what is the purpose, like what were they trying to do? What is the whole purpose of trying to get Greenland? Look at this, guys. If we can get Greenland, it is a major protection for the United States to continue making sure that we don't get bombed or we're not having war here in the United States. Check this out.
So if Greenland does join the U.S., it would increase the size of America by 1/3. And that's his legacy right there. 1,000 years from now, if you mention Donald Trump's name, they would know him just like they know Thomas Jefferson's name for the Louisiana Purchase. Greenland, almost the exact same size in square miles as the Louisiana Purchase, and 16 states can trace their roots right back to that one move in 1803 by Thomas Jefferson. And just like the Louisiana Purchase, Greenland might actually have more untapped natural resources than any other place on the planet right now.
Oil,
it makes
baby.
a ton of sense from a military standpoint as well, putting the U.S. right in the middle of the Arctic Sea as it melts. Greenland's prime minister has also been very public about wanting to be liberated from Danish rule. On Twitter, a Danish journalist listed out the reasons why Denmark should sell Greenland to the United States, writing that the U.S. is a highly valued ally to Denmark, but we are a small country and we can't contribute that much to the alliance. But we can contribute by selling Greenland, and that's something. Denmark doesn't have the ability to mine or extract the oil. Selling to someone who can make sense, and that would mean we don't have to sell those mining rights to China. China wants them. Donald Trump Jr. traveled to Greenland yesterday, and he joined us last night. Tonight, we're joined by the man who joined him on Trump Force One for this trip yesterday. Charlie Kirk is with us, founder of Turning Point USA. Charlie, good to have you back.
Thank you. Great to see you.
So this was quite a trip yesterday. You flew from Florida to Greenland, and you made it back for dinner at Mar-a-Lago last night. Take us through the whole day. What was this like?
It's pretty remarkable, yeah. Don called me up. He said, hey, Charlie, do you want to go to Greenland with me? I said, that is an offer I can't resist, and not an offer I thought I'd ever get. We boarded Trump Force One at 2 a.m., 6-hour flight up to Nook. We got off the plane right as the sun was rising at 11 a.m. local time. They only get a couple hours of sunlight there. And we were met by hundreds of people with MAGA hats and American flags that were so enthusiastic about our entrance and our just basically fact-finding mission. We wanted to learn about what was happening there. We came as tourists. We didn't meet with any government officials, no one in their official capacity. We then went to some of the local sites, as you see some of the pictures there, went up to the hill, very sacred hill there in downtown Nook, which actually commemorates the first missionary that came there in the 1700s. We went to the local museum, the local cultural center. We met with locals, dozens of them, and heard their stories. What we learned is a couple things. Number one, the people of Greenland are awesome. They're tough people. They have tough winters. They've been through a lot. Feel forgotten, but they're the most lovely people. Number two, they feel as if they're mistreated right now by the Danish government, that the Danish government is not treating them the way that they like to be treated, and they want to be wealthy again. And that is the third thing. The locals were telling us about how they have rubies on the side of the streets in some of their neighborhoods, about the oil and minerals, about the lithium, about the nickel they have in their country, and they want to be able to use it. They do not want to be terrorized by Russia or China, and Greenland entering the United States of America would give them safety, security, and prosperity for generations to come.
Yeah, there's only 56,000 people there, so it sounds like you met with about half of the population. This Danish journalist said that for about $5 billion, you could get everybody in Greenland $100,000 and just have them take down the Danish flag and raise the American flag. Any idea, just in your conversations with Don Jr. on Trump Force One, how much do you think this would cost the United States to acquire Greenland from Denmark?
No idea, but I will say just trust the president's ability to execute the art of the deal. There's a lot of ideas out there in the public dialogue that are interesting, and I'll just say from my conversation with the citizens of Nook and of Greenland, they might vote to just leave Denmark as it is right now. They are not thrilled. They're not happy with the current accommodations or arrangements. Understand, Denmark has entered the Greta Thunberg style of radical environmentalism. They don't want to use this oil, natural gas. They don't want to use this natural resources. And they say, wait a second, we have this liquid gold, and this Trump guy is talking about liquid gold all the time in America. Why don't we have that for our country? And so you kind of see the connecting dots here. So I have no idea what a purchase would look like. I will say we have the greatest deal maker in the history of deals. President Donald Trump will be able to deliver this if that's what he wants. He seems to be signaling that with quite some significant force, and it would be a major benefit for the United States of America. Let me say that in closing, is that our country would grow stronger, more secure, and wealthier if we added Greenland to our ever vibrant and prosperous country.
Yeah, and what does that mean for Trump's legacy if he actually does accomplish this? Because I'll tell you what, today, the liars on the other networks were all mocking Trump for even bringing this up.
Who's laughing now?
Well, I'm sure they're mocking it. The networks then won't get invited to the opening of our new consulate or whatever we might have in Nook. I mean, they can laugh all they want, but if President Trump gets this deal done, it will go down as geopolitical significance. It'll go down as securing the nation, and also what an amazing opportunity to be able to give more prosperity to more people. So they can mock it all they want, but those are the same people that said about 3 years ago after January 6th that President Trump's political career is over. So the fact they're mocking it means that it's almost assured that President Trump is going to get this deal done.
All right, Charlie.
Guys, it's beautiful, guys. What's happening? What's coming up, guys? Even with Trump, look, the art of the deal is there. Trump is already making plans. Everything that he said that he would have done is all coming into play. Thank you so much, Carmen H, for the super chat. Said the kingdom of God is totally in charge of these demons. He's the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. God has a gavel that is so much bigger, and we've already won. God gets all the glory and honor. Amen. Let's go. Y'all show Carmen some love in the chat. And also, Andy said, why do we have to keep some of these immigrants in the United States that Joe Biden wants to keep them here? What is their purpose? Guys, they want to make them voters. As simple as that. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat. They want to make them voters. They know that there's no other way, that people don't like their policies, so they have to bring in these immigrants, give them all this free stuff, and then turn them into Democratic voters that is living off the other taxpayers. This is big. Russia plans to discuss new security agreements with U.S. President to roll back NATO. Putin wants to change the rules of international order so there are no threats to Russia. Trump wants to wind down NATO anyway. Guys, think about this. If we get Greenland, that puts another place between us, United States homeland, the continental United States, and Russia, protecting us and making sure that we're safe. Listen, like Trump, all these things that are happening, Trump is not afraid. He's calling it out. Listen to this.
Off the top, you mentioned the Carter funeral today. What were you talking to Barack Obama about?
It did look very friendly, I must say.
Trump is making deals.
I didn't realize it, how friendly it looked. I saw it on your wonderful network just a little while ago before I came in, and I said, boy, they look like two people that like each other. And we probably do. We have little different philosophies, right? But we probably do. I don't know, we just got along. But I got along with just about everybody on that. We met backstage, as you know, before we went on. And I thought it was a beautiful service, but we all got along very well, which is good.
In California, what specifically do you think Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass could have done differently to prepare for this $50 billion fight?
You know, we have great governors in this room, and if you look at the way their states, I think I can say without exception. Anybody doing poorly in here? I don't think so. I mean, without exception, we have great governors here that have done a great job with their states. And I don't think, and you'll probably, if there's a weak link, you're going to find it, and you're going to be asking the next question of that person. Gavin Newsom had an opportunity to have millions of gallons a week, a day, millions and millions of gallons come down from the north. And I was able to get him federal approval from that, from the Department of Commerce of all departments. I didn't realize it would go through Commerce. I would have thought environmental, but it goes through Commerce. I got all of the approvals, and he said, I don't want to sign it. I don't want the water. We don't need the water. I said, you need the water. Your reservoirs are empty, the whole place. You need the water. That was 5 years ago. And I had it all done. The work was all done. We sent it to him. He refused to sign it. And if you noticed yesterday, the hydrants were empty. They didn't have any water, many of them. They said 20%, but now I just heard 50%, and now none of them have water, and that fire is still raging. He turned that down. I was going to give him unlimited water. It would come down, it really comes down from the north, way up north, including parts of Canada. It's so much water that they wouldn't know what to do with. Just the opposite would have happened. And that's the reason that this happened. He wouldn't do what we wanted. And we're going to force that upon him now. But it's very late, because I think it's one of the great catastrophes in the history of our nation. This is not just in Los Angeles. I've never seen anything like that, devastation. And we're talking about homes that cost $200, $300, $400 million. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. People that, and very influential people worldwide. I don't know that they ever go back either, because you know, they weren't happy with California. They weren't happy with Gavin Newsom. They weren't happy with their whole lifestyle there, with the crime being out of control, all the other problems. They were not happy. And it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not they're going to build, or whether somebody else is going to build and build a much lesser home. These were the most expensive homes outside of Palm Beach County. I see a list. Outside of Palm Beach, these were the most expensive homes anywhere in the world. And I don't think I think a lot of them are just not going to go back and build it. Plus, they don't want to be part of a construction site. They don't want to, they're building a home, another one's building, they're building in front of them, behind them, alongside of them. So I think it's a tragedy. I think it's an incredible tragedy. It's also a tragedy for a tax base. And the governors know exactly what I'm talking, and I'd like to hear anybody talk about that. But if you're the governor of a state and you lost thousands of very rich people that were paying a lot of taxes and weren't happy about it, and weren't happy about what's happened to California, which has all the advantages of greatness, but they've had horrible politicians. I think that Gavin is largely incompetent, and I think the mayor is largely incompetent, and probably both of them are just stone cold incompetent. What they've done is terrible. Would anybody have a comment on that? Because when you talk about losing the tax base, that's you're losing a lot of, you're going to lose a lot of those people permanently. Those people pay billions of dollars in taxes. Governor, what about you?
Guys, let me tell you this. The common sense that's coming back, I want to show you this because this just popped up, guys. This is insane, guys. The common sense that's coming back to the United States in the leadership positions is astronomical. It's beautiful. And thank you so much, Mr. Norby, for the members for 3 months. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. This is Denmark is ready to turn Greenland into a new U.S. military base. Denmark privately contacted Trump's team to discuss boosting security or increasing the U.S. military presence in Greenland per Axios. Guys, it's common sense. Protect the United States. Make sure that we're safe. Make sure that there's nothing, no missiles or anything can be sent over to us and harm us in any form or fashion. It's common sense, guys. And what bothers me is that when I look at what they're trying to do to Trump to harm him, what they're trying to do to Trump to try to keep him from being president, doing all this lawfare. Listen to this, guys. A lot of stuff that happened actually behind the scenes that I want you to see, because Trump is already putting America so further ahead than any other president in the past 20, 30 years. Check this out.
Alina Habba is with us. Alina, you were there almost from the beginning. Even on fake news CNN, they acknowledged Donald Trump beat them. And there were times, if you go back 6, 8 months ago, there were times we had no idea how this was going to play out. But the fact that they took it this far is what should scare everybody.
Well, fear no more. In 10 days, I am so proud to be going right back to where he belongs, and we got him where he needed to be, which is in the White House, so that this can end. And this doesn't need to end. It ended for President Trump today. It's done. Now we will appeal it. We will unveil what happened. We will unveil the sham. We will talk about how the corruption has permeated our justice system. I've been speaking with you ad nauseum about that for nearly 4 years now. But I can say that now we have our chance to fix it, and it's for America. And maybe President Trump had to go through this and be the victim of this because he is the only one that can truly fix it and get America's attention about the corruption. And now we get to work, Sean. I am so excited for the next 10 days until we are there. We will be working so hard. We already are. And President Trump today, think about this man. He was sitting there being sentenced for a crime he did not do, for a crime that DA Bragg, DA Cy Vance passed on, a crime that was directed and dictated by a corrupt political system and administration. And what did he talk about? He talked about the fires in California where many people are suffering. He thanked the judge at the end. He said, thank you. And he was stoic. And that is the man that will lead this country, fix this judicial system, and lead every administrative department into what America used to know, what America was. And I cannot wait. And I know the American people can't wait. And that was clear on November 5th.
Now, the statute of limitations in this case had run out. And Alvin Bragg came up with this novel legal theory, and we had a legal NDA put together by a lawyer, labeled as an NDA. So I have a hard time understanding how this became, on a local state level, what it would be a federal issue. Wouldn't that fall under the supremacy clause?
First of all, you're trying to do something called mental gymnastics. And the reason you can't understand it is because it's unthinkable. It is not founded in any law. We even had decisions about immunity, yet there were witnesses allowed to come in and testify about things that happened outside the Oval Office. President Trump was not even there. This was a Trump administration person in accounting plugging away on QuickBooks who labeled a legal expense as a legal expense. Yep. And somehow our president Our former president and our future president was attacked by a man who put a gag order on him because he didn't want anyone to know the indiscrepancies of his family or anybody else. And that is a disgrace. You can't figure this out because the statute of limitations, of course, they ran. So did they with Letitia James. And just yesterday, we had Judge Engoron pulled off our case. It went unnoticed, but the attorneys noticed. And then 4 hours later, we got notice that Engoron was put back on. And I will tell you something, Sean. In 10 days, we will look at what happened.
Yep.
We will investigate, and we will make sure nobody is persecuted and prosecuted because of their political affiliation in this country.
Well, I hope it stays that way, but look at all that he'd gone through, and we covered all of it on this program. I mean, for 3 long years, you had Democrats, you had the state-run media mob peddling a lie, a conspiracy theory about a Russia hoax and Donald Trump at the Ritz Hotel and urine in a bed. None of it was ever true. It was all based on a Russian disinformation dossier bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton. You had the double standard. Hillary Clinton, she didn't have presidential immunity like Donald Trump, nor did Joe Biden. They both had top secret classified information in their possession that they shouldn't have. There was no raid of their homes or their offices. The idea that Hillary took 33,000 subpoenaed emails, deleted them with BleachBit, destroyed devices with hammers, removed SIM cards, nothing happened. You know, before the 2020 election, 51 former Intel officials, the FBI had authenticated the laptop of Hunter Biden in March of 2020, and they were pre-bunking it to every big tech company in the country, and then 51 former Intel officials that knew nothing about the laptop, went out publicly before a debate and said it has all the fingerprints of Russian disinformation. They knew nothing about that laptop. Yeah. How do you clean out the basement? How do you restore the DOJ, the FBI, the intelligence communities to their former glory and greatness?
You have to clean, and by cleaning, you remove. You cannot continue with the toxicity because it all came from the top. These people were involved. There's no question of it, Sean. You bring up Hillary Clinton. One of my first cases for President Trump was when we sued Hillary Clinton, when we went after her for the Russia hoax. And do you know what happened? We never met that judge, not once. We never appeared in front of that judge, not once. We were sanctioned $1 million. That's another hoax. There are hoaxes upon hoaxes, and until we go through these departments with the amazing leadership that he has picked, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, I could go on and on and on. These people are going to be Avengers in the White House, and not in a bad way. Avengers fighting for America and making sure that we get back on track. And these are the people President Trump picked for a reason. They are disruptors in a good way, because this country is backwards right now. Unfortunately, it is. I am a proud American, God knows it. But I am not proud of what I've seen the past 3.5 years, and that's why I've even stepped away from law to go in and help save this country, because we need strong leadership, and that is President Donald Trump. And America saw what happened. Sean, it's a blessing in disguise, I tell you. I should thank them, because they are going to allow us to get back in and to get rid of all of them.
Yep.
Oh, that in and of itself will be a great gift to the country. Alina, thank you for your hard work. Congratulations. This has been a heavy lift the whole way. We appreciate you being...
Guys, let me tell you this. The dream team is real right here, guys. Thank you so much, Mr. Norby, brother. Appreciate you. So make this donation to get folks to be members on the family channel here. We need more good people to be part of the family of truth seekers. Love you, brother. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. We're going to give him some fireworks, man. Let's go. Guys, the truth is coming out. These people, Tulsi Gabbard, National Intelligence Director, Kash Patel, FBI Director, Pete Hegseth, going to be over the Department of Defense, all ready to clean house, remove all the craziness, and make sure that we see the truth. No more lawfare. No more of weaponization of government. All this stuff that Hannity just said. They didn't raid Biden's house like they did Trump's. They didn't raid Hillary Clinton's house like they did, even though we know about all the stuff that she did with all the emails, the servers, all that. But there's one other person, guys, that's like a sleeper for Trump. Sleeper person in the terms of he's working in there, he's fighting, and he's going to make sure that there's a lot of things that get done when it comes to reducing government waste and helping Trump get his agenda across the border. Check this out.
The upcoming priorities, border tax cuts in one or two reconciliation bills. Is the conversation shifting now that there will be a continuing resolution on March 14th that will include California wildfire emergency aid and perhaps the debt limit? I mean, I know you're a hard no on anything involving raising or eliminating the debt ceiling, correct?
Yeah, I think that the people who need to vote to raise the debt ceiling, if it has to be raised, should be the big spenders who vote for the big spending. I and the other conservatives in the House of Representatives, we don't vote for the spending. And so the day of shame, the vote of shame, when they march down there and they show who they are, the people who need to vote for it are Democrats and big spending Republicans who vote for all the spending. But frankly, we should also send the message that we're never going to default. We bring in about $200 to $300 billion of revenue every month. Our interest payment is a lot smaller than that. There's always enough tax revenue. We should announce to the world and to all the markets we're never defaulting because our tax revenue on a monthly basis is like 10 times bigger than our interest payment. So we always will pay our interest. We should announce it. And even if we did not extend the debt ceiling, we could pay interest on our debt simply through revenue.
Senator, the Supreme Court is taking up the case against TikTok, deciding whether the government can ban this platform over its ties to China if it doesn't divest. You have now filed a bipartisan amicus brief with the Supreme Court saying that this ban goes against the First Amendment of free speech and expression. Tell us more.
Well, even the authors of the TikTok ban will tell you they're trying to stop certain ideas from being expressed. They worry about these ideas, which to me are frankly are a lot of dancing videos, which I think if you don't want your kid watching dancing videos, what happened to parental control? But governmental control is forbidden by the First Amendment. And so I think this is a First Amendment case for 170 million Americans using this app. It's also confusing when people say, oh, it's a Chinese-owned app. It's owned by international investors. It's like 60% of the people who own TikTok are not Chinese. The two people who developed it are Chinese engineers, but there's 7,000 Americans who work for TikTok who are part owners of TikTok also. So this is a lot more complicated than they make it out. And I think the First Amendment is too important. And if you're one of the people who worry about the app, don't use it.
Well, I mean, so are you saying you're not worried about the Chinese Communist Party gathering information from TikTok on user data? I mean, isn't that one of the issues?
I'm worried about Meta, Google, TikTok, anybody taking my data. So I make informed decisions on what I use so I don't have to share my data. But if you don't want to use it, it's a free country. Don't use it.
No, this is a fair point that you're making. Let me switch gears and ask you about next week's confirmation hearings. As chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, you'll be overseeing hearings on Wednesday for Kristi Noem as DHS Secretary, Russ Vought as Director of the Office of Management and Budget. And then, of course, all week we've got cabinet confirmation hearings for Pam Bondi, Doug Burgum, Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, Duffy, Zeldin, Stefanik, and Wright. What are your expectations for these hearings and confirmation of President Trump's cabinet?
In the past, the minority party has not obstructed at least a handful of high-ranking cabinet members to be approved in the first week. So I'm hopeful that Secretary of State, as well as Department of Homeland Security, will be approved either on the day of the inauguration or the day after or that week, as well as a few others, Department of Defense. So I'm hoping we get to it quickly and that we don't muddle it around. And I still have my fingers crossed that that's going to happen. As far as the two that I'm in charge of, I've seen no resistance on the Republican side and some indication that we may get some Democrat support as well.
Do you have conviction and confidence that your colleagues in the Senate on the GOP side will vote for President Trump's cabinet?
Yes, for the most part. I think there's two or three in our caucus that are worrisome on a handful. This is an amazing group of people and talented people that have been put forward. And I think most Republicans are on board. It's down to about two or three. We could probably lose, two or three and still get there. But my hope is those Republicans will look at this and say, these are some really qualified people, frankly.
All right, we will leave it there. Senator, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us.
Guys, so much stuff is about to happen. Guys, we're just living in some crazy, crazy breaking news time. I wanted to show you this right here because if we could do this, guys, we would be unstoppable, guys. Look at this. All green being the United States. Ty Matt Chong, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said 9 days left for J20th winners are all of us. True Life News fam, we all know all the past corruptions will be above water so it can be visible 100%. Y'all show Ty some love in the chat. Guys, hey, if we just get one, guys, over the next 4 years, that will be a win. That will put us more than where we're at right now. And to me, I feel like that's what's in Trump's mind is, look, we want to shoot for as many as we can and just continue to do whatever we can to make the United States the best that it can be forever. Want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every single day with the top news. Remember, Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. Really helps the channel, guys, so much when you support us through the likes. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. And when you subscribe, we are so close to 155,000. We just want to continue growing this community, bringing the truth, and just showing our support. In little over a week, we're going to be giving a big donation online to show you we're giving back to charity. And at this channel, we want to do more than just report the news. Want to give some love to Mr. Tracy J. Norby in the chat. What's new? Carmen H. Andy. Ty Matt Chong. Y'all show them some love in the chat, guys. To all of our members, show them some love. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. We are here for you guys. We got the best chat. I love our chat. It's so much fun every single day interacting with you all. Guys, this family is amazing, and I'm so grateful and so thankful for you all. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.